Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So this week, we're getting the final release specs for the brand new Panasonic Lumix S series of full-frame mirrorless cameras. And secondly, System76 is coming out with a brand new Linux laptop. So let's go ahead and start with the camera news. This is super exciting for me because I own a Panasonic Lumix G85 camera. And the entire camera photography world has been waiting for this because the industry is moving towards a full-frame mirrorless world. And so other companies like Nikon already has their Z6 and Z7. Canon has their EOS R, and of course, the big dog, Sony has their A7 III, A7R III, which is highly considered the best when it comes to full-frame mirrorless. And so Panasonic is starting off with two cameras. One is the S1, and the other one is the S1R. Now, I'm going to spend most of my time talking about the S1 because the S1R is more photography-centric, whereas the S1 is more of a hybrid where it does both great photo and video. Now, this line of S-series cameras is really not meant for people like myself who has a sub $1,000 camera. This is more for professionals, especially people who are already using their GH5, GH5S, and G9 cameras. Now, this has a full-frame 24 megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor. So what this will allow it to do is go up to really high ISOs. This one goes up to 51,200. And if I'm not mistaken, the S1R actually goes up to 125,000. So this will give you great low light performance and allow it to be more competitive against Sony, Nikon, and Canon. And all of this is being done with their brand new Panasonic Venus engine. Now, other things that it carries over from the G series of phone is the excellent image stabilization. In body has a 5-axis image stabilization, which will give you 5.5 stops of compensation. But then when you pair that with a compatible lens, you get dual IS, which now gives you 6 stops. Now, my G85 also has this in-body stabilization, although it's not as advanced as this. And I could tell you it's excellent. You could do a lot of handheld without a tripod or gimbal. And right out of the gate, the S series of cameras will have 3 lenses, 2 for f4 and 1 for f1.4. And there will be more lenses coming out with a partnership with Leica and Sigma, and I will talk about that a little bit later. Other features that it has a high resolution mode, which will allow you to take a 96 megapixel picture, which is insane. But what's even more crazy is the S1R will allow you to take a 187 megapixel picture. Yeah. So if you love large prints or you're doing landscape photography, this will be a feature that you can use. And then moving over to the video, this will have 4K 60p with 420 8-bit video recording internally, and then 422 video external recording through its HDMI output. But then later on, you'll be able to get a software upgrade that will allow you to do 422 10-bit recording internal and then output that through your HDMI as well. And you'll also get Panasonic's Vlog. And then the actual audio capabilities, not only will it have the standard mic, but most importantly, it will be compatible with their Panasonic XLR mic for the best in terms of audio quality. So this is an adapter that you can already get for the GH5, GH5S, and G9. And so now when it actually comes to the build quality, this is built for professionals. This is for heavy duty use. It has a magnesium alloy body. It's completely weather sealed. It'll go down to negative 10 degrees Celsius. And it also comes, thankfully, with 2 card slots. One for SD card is UHS-2 compatible, plus XQD. This is something that both Nikon and Canon doesn't have. They only have 1 SD card slot, and the Nikon does have an XQD. And even compared to the A7R by Sony, they have dual card slots as well, but it's limited to the UHS-2 SD card, and it doesn't have XQD. So for people who do wedding photography or for professionals who just don't want to miss a shot or any videos, this is going to be perfect for them. And then it also comes with the highest resolution EVF or electronic viewfinder available today at 5.76 million pixels and a high refresh rate of 120 frames per second. And so for people who are doing fast moving videos or photos, this would be perfect for them. And it also has a 3.2 inch 2.1 pixel screen as well, and I will talk about this a little bit later. And other things that it has is the full customization that Panasonic offers on their camera. So as you can see here, It has a ton of buttons, but the great thing is you could customize it to the way that you work best. And since it is a full frame camera and it has so much technology packed in, it's going to be a pretty big camera. So just think about a DSLR, except that it's now mirrorless. Now, pricing wise, whenever these are released, the body alone for the S1 is going to be $2,500. And then for the S1R, it's saying $3,400 or $3,399, but I think I saw somewhere where it's $3,500. So definitely not a cheap camera. And so with all of these features, Panasonic is definitely come out in the gate strong, although there's definitely some drawbacks here. And so the main drawback that I see are two things. The first thing is the actual autofocus technology that they're actually using. Instead of using a more consistent and more reliable phase detect or a hybrid like Sony, Nikon, and Canon use, it's sticking to their contrast-based DFD depth from defocus system. And a lot of people do not like this when it comes to video, although it's excellent for photography. And I will say that's pretty much the only Achilles heel that I have for my Panasonic Lumix G85. And so we'll see how this compares, because with the new Venus engine, it's really using their AI technology to where it can identify people, faces, and even animals. And so hopefully that will improve its autofocus and make it more reliable and consistent. And the other thing, which is now to me a new weakness, although professionals might not need this, is this actual back screen. It's not fully articulating anymore. Okay, so it's kind of like what the Fuji is using with the X-T3, where it tilts up, but it also tilts to the side, but it doesn't tilt all the way around. I really think this was a missed opportunity. But what Panasonic was saying is this will help with the design of the body. It'll make it more rugged. And, you know, once again, this is built for professionals. And so I don't think a lot of professional photographers, they have this flip out screen. And so, yeah, I wish they would have had the whole flip out screen. That's pretty much the two biggest weaknesses that I see. But now let's move on to probably the one thing that pretty much anybody who gets to this level of cameras thinks about, and that is their lens selection or the entire ecosystem that they have. So Panasonic is going to be using this L-mount ecosystem, which is a partnership with Leica and Sigma and Panasonic. And so what this will allow Panasonic to do is offer a full line of lenses versus just them producing their own, because with 3 lenses right out of the gate and 10 by the end of 2019, it's not going to be enough. And so with the partnership that they have with Leica and Sigma, you could look forward to maybe 20 plus lenses available by the end of 2019. And then by 2020, if you just include Panasonic's alone, they're going to have 20. So maybe around 40, if I'm not mistaken. So this is really what's going to set it apart from other manufacturers, because with any brand new ecosystem, it's going to take time to build up the lenses. But because Panasonic is working with other partners and that they don't have to make all these lenses by themselves, it gives them a huge advantage. And so professionals, they don't have to worry as much whenever they're moving from one ecosystem to another and they can't bring their lenses over, or they have to have an adapter and so forth. And so the lens selection here, once again, is not going to be cheap. If you know anything about Leica, their lenses are expensive. So this lens alone is nearly $5,000. Yeah, that's going to be insane. Sigma has a lot of lenses from all types of different price ranges. But if you look here, even they're not cheap at all. You know, you can see here. And so there will be adapters to work with this L mount for these Sigma lenses, and they'll have native lenses as well to work with that. And so if you are going to get into this ecosystem, once again, it's not meant for normal consumers like myself. So most people who get into this is probably going to spend around $10,000 just to get started. And if you look at the actual XQD card itself, look at this memory card. It's $151 for 120 gigs. If you go up to 256 gigs, it's almost $500. That's just the memory card slot. So yeah, I'm not going to be a pro videographer or photographer anytime soon. But overall, I really feel Panasonic is doing the right thing whenever it comes out to bringing out this brand new line of full frame cameras. I just do wish that they will have a tilty screen later on, a full articulating later on, and also I really am anxious about their autofocus. I think this is something that a lot of people have been wanting to see. because I think with anybody who uses the Panasonic Lumix, especially even up to the GH series, the autofocus has always been something that Sony, Canon, and even Nikon do much better. And hopefully Panasonic will improve that to the point where it will be reliable and competitive. So exciting stuff. I think it's going to come out in April. For some markets, it might be March. So start saving up your money or get a new credit card because you might want to get these series of cameras. So let's move on to another big release, but in a different world, and that is the Linux world. System76 is bringing out a brand new Linux laptop. It is the Darter Pro. And so this is going to be more of their thinner, lighter laptop. This is going to have excellent battery life. And if you look at the specs here, they're going to be pretty beefy specs. And I think this is primarily towards like maybe creatives who actually want a lot of power in a very light form factor. And at the same time, System76 is continually pushing what Linux is able to do when it comes to actual hardware. And, you know, I really applaud them for that because they're one of the few companies who is a Linux manufacturer from the ground up. So if you look at some of their current systems, look at this video, it looks really nice. I really do enjoy the fact that they're putting a lot of emphasis and quality for all the Linux users out there without having to worry about taking a Windows or Mac machine and then converting it into a Linux machine, which is what the majority of us do. And I do hope that System76 continues to bring out more systems like this. And in terms of pricing, I think it's going to be around $1,000. So definitely not the budget end, but then again, it's not going to be like super expensive. And the actual laptop will come with a variety of options when it comes to the built-in operating system. You can have Ubuntu, or you can use the Ubuntu-based Pop! OS, which System76 develops. And so we'll see how this brand new laptop performs and if a lot of people buy into this, because a lot of what System76 does is they'll take existing hardware from Chinese manufacturers and they'll rebrand it and then put in their own spin on it. And so hopefully this will be a higher quality laptop. And from everything that I could see, I think it will be. I don't think System76 produces bad machines. It's just really great that they still focus on releasing more Linux-based machines. And so if you had any thoughts about anything I talked about today, whether it's the new System76 Darter Pro or the brand new Panasonic Lumix S series of full frame cameras, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And as always, if you did get value out of these videos, share, like, and subscribe. Hey geeks, if you are a creative geek like me and you wanted to learn how to create content on YouTube and other places on the internet, then check out my Gold Content Creators group where you'll get access to 30 videos plus additional content for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part of it is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.